What's up, everybody? Apologize, this isn't going to be the most flattery of angles here, but this is a video that if you would have asked me last night if I was going to be making this video, I probably would have said no. I didn't have the confidence, but as it works out, driving up to the farm here today on October 4th to go take a look at and take some pictures of a buck that my dad shot last night, October 3rd. And it was really kind of a long story. I'm going to get into it a little bit here on the drive out. So basically, I had to work all day yesterday. I was working a double shift, working a 12-hour shift, and my dad decided to go hunting. It was great weather, low temperatures, high pressure, and he called me at about, I would say, 7 o'clock and said that he had shot a buck but thought the shot was low, or he actually had thought he missed, so he went to look for his arrow and actually found blood. So he ended up tracking it for a little ways, maybe 100 yards or so, and decided to back out because the blood wasn't great and the deer had started to go uphill. So I told him I'd be out after work, started going through all the situations in my mind, trying to think of what the deer could have done, where it was hit, what might have been clipped, any arteries, heart, anything. And from what Dad could remember and what he thought happened, and from what he described to me, was it seemed like he had made a good shot, but it hit the deer low of where he was aiming because he had misjudged the distance. The distance was about 35 and he had shot it for about 30. So the whole time I was thinking we were looking for a deer that it was either going to be hit low heart and low pyloric artery, or it wasn't going to be hit anywhere vital at all and it was going to live. So I told him just to wait for a few more hours till I got off work and I'd be out and we could go ahead and start looking for this deer. Because I thought it was kind of going to be an all or nothing type thing. I thought it was either going to be he clipped part of the heart and the deer was going to be dead that night, or it was going to survive and live to see another day. Because I didn't think, from what he had described and the angle of the shot being perfectly broadside and just low, I didn't think there was any chance that it might have clipped the liver or lung. I just thought it was going to be hard or nothing. So we went in at night, started tracking with very little blood. It was slow going, probably tracked for maybe an hour or so. And we got to the point where we were just running out of blood. We couldn't find any blood from the last spot that we had marked. We had spread out a little bit, looked for blood, couldn't find anything. And just when we were about to give up and go back and maybe come back in the morning or just call it quits, we had found more blood. So then we got on a new direction and we were looking for blood. Got a little bit, went a few feet farther, a few yards, and then it would run out again. And we'd have to keep looking, 20 more minutes. Then right when we're about to give up again, we found a little more blood. And that happened a few times. And then the last time, there's literally no blood anywhere from the last spot that we found. We had found a decent little pool, but nothing from that point. And then my dad, for whatever reason, glanced up the hill about 20 yards above where we were looking and saw his his nocturnal, because we had never found the arrow, but he saw his lighted knock up the hill about 20 yards. So we walked up there and found where a small bed and where the arrow would come out, and a decent amount of blood. And from there, again, not much blood pumping. So I just kind of walked a little ways in front of where we found that arrow and shined my light up, and I saw a reflection of an eye. And at first I couldn't, for whatever reason, it didn't strike me that it would be the buck, because I didn't see any antlers. I just saw ears. I thought it might have been a doe. And right as I was thinking that, the deer stands up, and it ended up being the buck. And he got up really slow and looked like he was it looked like he was in a very labored state getting up. He did not look like he was bounding away from like a flesh wound. It looked like he had been hit hard. So long story short, we ended up backing out. And again, based on the angle of the shot and what we were thinking, I thought the deer was going to live. There wasn't a lot of blood in the bed that we found from where we bounced him. And I just thought it was low chest, like just a flesh wound injury that the deer would recover from, because we've had that happen a few other times before. We would track them like that and bounce them and then get pictures of them a couple weeks later and they'd be fine. So that's kind of what I was expecting to happen. And the reason I didn't film any of that last night was mainly because I didn't want to be distracted on the blood trail with the camera. I wanted to, there was rain coming in, it had started to rain, and I didn't want to lose blood or be distracted trying to film things in the dark and have that affect anything. So long story short, I had to work again this morning, and me and Dad decided that there wasn't going to be a lot of blood to follow with the rain and just from how little he was bleeding to begin with. So Dad came back this morning and just right at first light just decided to comb the hillside that we were on when we last saw him, because I thought if he was fatally wounded, he was going to bed back down again on that hillside before he made it back out to the field, and he was going to bed back down and die, or if he wasn't on that hillside, he was probably going to survive that hit and be okay. That was the two options that we had kind of concluded on. And lo and behold, Dad searched that whole hillside this morning, and right when he was about to give up again, he walked down to the creek that runs in between the two hillsides, and he found the deer down there. So we're gonna go take a look at him. We're gonna go get some awesome pictures, and we're gonna go get a game plan of taking care of him, getting everything corded up. And it was pretty cool temperatures last night, so we're hoping the meat should be good. Dad got him field dressed and everything right away to make sure to get as much heat out of it as possible, even though it had been a little bit. But I mean, it was probably low 40s last night, so the meat should be good. But man, just another crazy story. One of these days we're gonna have to get Dad a camera, so it's not always just me doing the recovery jobs with the film. We're gonna have the whole hunt, but it's a great buck. We've had pictures of him. He was pretty sporadic all year on the cameras. It was maybe a once every couple of weeks kind of deer, but he's just an awesome buck, a lot of character, and potentially could be the biggest deer Dad's ever shot, rifle or bow. So glad we could find him. The shot actually ended up being a little bit farther back of what we were expecting, so it was a liver and paunch shot deer. So hindsight's 2020. If we would have known that from the beginning, I definitely wouldn't have pushed the deer the way we did last night, because in my mind last night we were looking for a deer that was either shot in the heart or he was shot in just some muscle and wasn't going to die. So looking back now, if we would have known where the shot placement was a little bit more accurately, we could have made a better decision and not track last night. We probably would have found him in his first bed, but it ended up all working out this time. But yeah, hopefully next time we'll have Dad have a camera, and then we can figure out a little bit better game plan. But like I said, it all worked out. It's a happy ending to this story, and can't wait to show you guys this deer. We're gonna be there in a little bit, so I'll get back with you then. Go take a look. I can't believe it, dude. When you called me this morning, I knew, because I knew you wouldn't have.
You didn't think it was going to be?
No, I knew you wouldn't have called me if you hadn't found him. You probably just would have texted me and be like, hey, nothing doing, just like we thought. But... oh my gosh. It's huge. That beam is so cool. There's no doubt this is the biggest deer you've ever shot. Oh, there's no doubt about it. Alright, well, let's go get him posed somewhere and get some pictures. Dude, that deer's awesome.
It's got pretty much everything we look for.
Mine, we always said mine had the most character, but I think that one might have beat it. It's really similar character though.
It kind of is, yeah.
He's got the blade, and then he's got the weird.
Got that little dinghy, yep.
Yeah, only this one's on his beam instead of his G2. He's got a little acorn. I mean, he's got color.
This is the first one, almost, not, yeah. I was gonna say, most of the time I always have a broken antler somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the color. That's what I saw last night when he got up. Was the rain had this real shiny, brown shiny, because he had just polished. But, I mean, he was definitely number one in my mind.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah.
That 9-pointer at the shed stand is a solid deer, but this deer was for sure number one in my mind the whole season from what we've gotten pictures of so far.
Have we had, was this a last year deer, or we don't know? Or?
Not that I had been able to find. I couldn't find anything from last year that had
Because the first thing
Like-
when he walked up to it, he goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "That reminds me of that one that we saw way up on the hill that year after I shot mine."
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. I mean, I'll have to, because like he wasn't very active on the cameras, you know. So like, I'm gonna have to go back and do some digging, because like I never really dug too far on him, just because like he was like you got a spider crawling. He was like a once every 2-3 week kind of pictured deer. Like he was never super common, so I never really, like, I knew he was big and I knew he was a target, but I never really got into the.
When I checked the camera yesterday, that night after you left, that middle of the night, I'm like, he walked by. He didn't stay or eat corn or nothing. He just walked
after
by.
I left on Friday.
It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
He walked by and I'm like, dang.
Yeah, dude, we just, like, this weather front this weekend's been unreal. First weekend of October, and we get 50 degrees, good winds, good pressure. I mean, Sam tags out on Friday, you tag out on Saturday. I mean, up and back and forth. I've been coming up here 3 days in a row, and I've seen so many deer. Like, this weather's just got them going crazy. Like, we couldn't have asked for anything better on early October. But he's got a pretty cape on him too.
Yeah, he does.
We don't really have any early season capes in the freaking ticks.
Oh yeah, mine last year was loaded with them.
But yeah, I think we're gonna have to. I think he's gonna for him. From what I can tell, for him to look the best, we're gonna have to do, like, I don't know what it's called, the semi sneak or the full sneak. Like, we need to do like a hard turn to where like his neck muscles are gonna be protruding, and then that side's kicking out towards like.
Oh yeah, that's the side we want.
Yeah, like that main beam needs to be like kicking out towards like
So that'll
the
be
rim.
the right turn, his right turn.
Yeah, last year
Which
we're
is
talking
good,
about
because
we're
that's
gonna
exactly what he did when he came through that opening.
We're like, oh, we're gonna. I mean, unless it's like super big, we're probably just gonna keep doing European mounts just to save some space, and then you shoot your biggest deer the next year. I should have brought a tape measure. Should have scored him.
Oh, you'll have time.
I know. Whenever we cape him, I'll bring one.
Love that little
Oh yeah, that
kickers there.
When I saw that in the picture, I knew this deer was a good deer.
Acorn, I love it.
He's gonna look so good in the room with the rest of them.
Move one of my dinkies and put this one in there.
Yeah, might have to start bringing some more up here. I'm just glad we found him. Finally got a.
Total luck. I mean, it wasn't like I was walking and I saw him over there or I saw him over there. I walked up right behind him on a trail.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, that looks like a butt. And I walked around. I'm like, oh my God, it's got antlers.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that happened like that. It's like, it was just
And I ain't gonna lie,
it was giving
I
me
had some tears in my eyes when I walked up on him.
it was giving me pretty boy vibes last night too much, that like I was just like, there's no way he's gonna die.
I didn't hardly sleep at all.
But
I guarantee maybe an hour.
I think it was just because of because I thought we were thinking down here. Like, that's where I was thinking.
That's where
I was like, if it's not low hard, it's nothing. It's just gonna be brisket, and he's probably gonna be okay. But then it ended up being a little farther back to where it did hit liver and stomach. So hindsight, if we would have known. I'm telling you, I think
I gotta invest in a video camera so I can
see with your buck fever. I think your best option, we're gonna get you a Tacticam.
What is that?
It's the stabilizer one. That all you have to do is push a button on your stabilizer, so you don't have to worry about moving the camera around or none of that. But it's better than a GoPro, because you know how GoPros make everything look really far away. That one has like normal point of camera like distance, so like everything looks.
And then
pretty
we can
smooth.
like rewind and look things over before we decide.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, brother.